As the Miraculous universe keeps expanding, we get introduced to more concepts, powers, and mythical creatures. And it's clear that this show isn't ending anytime soon. I'll be going over all the Miraculouses in the Chinese Miracle box, alongside the Eagle and the Prodigious, and give my personal critiques. These changes don't come from a narrative standpoint. The horse Miraculous is a perfect example of good concept, good execution. I don't think I'll change anything about it, and the horseshoe boomerang is solid. Power of Voyage fits very nicely with the concept of migration, seeing as horses are commonly used for transportation. The monkey is another ideal one. I know. He gets a lot of flack online, but honestly, I think he has a nice weapon and nice power, despite the fact that I initially thought it was a lame power. Sleeping Siren changed my mind. Honestly, the first time I ever saw the Miraculous used in such a creative way. But for people who still insist on a change, my other concept was adaptation. With the power of shape-shifting, as monkeys are known to be very adaptable and smart creatures, the user will be able to shape-shift into any living being. The turtle's imagery closely resembles its animal. The weapon, power, and concept track, but the only thing I'd change is the durability of the shields made. The strength of the shield should be determined by the physical condition of the holder. If the hero is exhausted from a fight, the shield will be more likely to break with more impact. I think the Dragon Miraculous is perfect the way it is, but I'm changing the concept to precipitation. I know it's kind of lazy using the word precipitation because it's a weather-related power, but when I talk about precipitation, I refer to the natural cycle of build and relief. The Mouse Miraculous is another good one. It truly captures how mice are small creatures and come in large numbers. And I like that the jump rope forms a tail. What does the fox say? The Fox Miraculous has one of the most straightforward powers, the ability to cast illusions, and as a weapon, the wielder gets a flute. It seems to take inspiration from the Japanese kitsune. The only real thing I would change about the power is the illusions shouldn't disappear on contact, but work more as hyper-realistic holograms that solid objects can pass through but don't dissipate on contact. The Bee Miraculous is another one of those powers that I'm completely fine with. The weapon is good, the venom power is meant to symbolize a bee sting, which is a perfect fit. After watching Miracle Queen, I wanted the Bee Miraculous to have mind control, but that would be too overpowered. In the new episodes, it was confirmed that the Bee Miraculous gives the user superhuman speed, which added to the power of venom, makes the user unreasonably strong. Also, I've seen people say the weapon should have been wings, but that would defeat the whole point of the space power-ups. I'll treat the Ladybug and Black Cat together. These are apparently the strongest Miraculous, so I'd give them extra powers. For the Ladybug Miraculous, since Tiki knows what is happening to different versions of herself in different timelines across different universes, she also knows what to give her user to save the day. But this can sometimes lead to much more easier wins. So what I change is make the Ladybug Miraculous create whatever the user wants, but Tiki can step in for less experienced holders. I'd keep the Miraculous Ladybug, magical charms, and de-evilization powers the same. Now add an early concept that was scrapped, the ability to change its weapon into different variants. Now for the Cat Miraculous, it was a little tricky because destruction is less versatile. I'm keeping the Miraculous Cat Noir, night vision, and heightened senses. The extra power I'm adding to the Cat Miraculous is the power of probability, specifically bad luck. This luck would be expressed with cataclysm, from earthquakes to making computers malfunction and maybe making others clumsy and battle, kind of like Jinx from Teen Titans. The Prodigious allows its holder shapeshift into specific animals once they embody a certain virtue. When transformed, the holder exhibits the natural ability of certain animals. Eagle flight, monkey agility, bear strength, you get the point. Except the dragon, that gives the user control over 3 elements: wind, water, and lightning. Sounds familiar?
Maybe because this is literally the power of the Dragon Miraculous.
I can't be the only one who finds this redundant. I'd prefer fire breathing because it's a dragon. If you're not new to my channel, you know exactly where I stand with the dog Miraculous. But funny enough, I wouldn't change the power. Though it's starting to seem a lot like the horse Miraculous. The dog Miraculous isn't very powerful. But you know what? That isn't a problem. Because not all Miraculous are meant to be for battle. But what I can't excuse
Is that sorry ass?
The lousy,
Stupid, dumb, straight up awful.
excuse for a weapon. It isn't good for attacking or defending. It should have a chain attached to it and maybe retractable spikes. It will work like a flail, but when the holder wants to use fetch, it turns back to a normal ball. Next up, the snake. I'd have to say this is a perfect concept. I think the writers really thought this one through, with the whole concept of Ouroboros and continual renewal. But what I can't get behind is the weapon. I know the Miraculous is very powerful and needs to be nerfed a bit, but I'd prefer a whip to go with the whole snake vibe. The Pig Miraculous power is another one that, despite my initial hate for it, has grown on me, and it can be powerful in its own way. What I'd change is the weapon, from a tambourine to a ribbon wand. I don't enjoy the concept of having musical instruments as weapons. Rena is the only exception to this, given how fitting it is. Ox Miraculous has a cool concept, determination, and the weapon, a mallet.
Nice.
But the power of resistance is too similar to the turtle, and in some instances, even better, seeing as the Kantian cataclysm, something that the turtle isn't capable of doing. The power of resistance always confused me, because if I'm not mistaken, Stomp said,
let's add some muscle to this game.
but seeing as the Ox Miraculous isn't stated to enhance the user's strength to a level greater than other Miraculouses, though some instances had me reconsidering. What I had in mind is the ability to grow bigger and stronger with every attack. That way, it's not just plain super strength. I was thinking of the name Backlash, so maybe resistance is the best. I've said in the past that the Rooster Miraculous is fine the way it is, because I consider it as the show's version of a magic user, but it is really redundant when you consider there are other Miraculouses, like the butterfly and the peacock, that can essentially do the same thing. So I'd scrap the concept of pretension and instead use inspiration. With the fountain pen as a weapon, this Miraculous will mostly be wielded by writers. Think William Shakespeare or Charles Dickens or even J.K. Rowling. Basically, the holder would charge up the fountain pen and write a particular trait, physical or mental, they wish to enhance. It touches the target and an orange aura surrounds the target, and said traits get enhanced. This ability could also work on the user themselves. Practical examples would be enhancing speed or boosting mental capacity. This is also a nod to how rooster crows wake people from sleep, and as such, this power unlocks the greatness within. Now, on to one of the most confusing Miraculous till date, the Rabbit Miraculous. Time in general is a hard power to write, hence it's usually relinquished to the backgrounds. That's what Miraculous tries to do, but on the few occasions where it is used, the rules don't stay the same. Analyzing and fixing the Rabbit Miraculous could be its own video, but I'm just going to talk about what I think would be less confusing and overpowered. First of all, there would be multiple burrows for multiple holders at different points in time, so the burrow won't be overcrowded. The burrow is calibrated to the time of the user, meaning they can only travel to the present day and not the future or past days. And the user acts as a watcher of time, not interfering with other timelines, but watching them meticulously through the rabbit's burrow and going to the present day to warn allies of potential threats. There are several timelines for different potential actions of people in the present day, so the wielder must study all of them before they happen. I know in universe this counts as a lot of plot heavy episodes, but like I said before, I'm strictly talking from a powers perspective. Think the Kwame of Liberation being a bald eagle with freedom related powers and located in the Native American miracle box is honestly good symbolism. The only thing I change is the weapon, from a
Aurora
to a bow and arrow. The user shoots feather-like arrows that freeze the target of all mental restraints, stopping them from reaching their goal. The bow and arrow were a common tool used by the Native Americans, so the symbolism is still evident. As a Miraculous mostly used by the big bads, it must be very powerful. and the butterfly Miraculous certainly is. It has the power to send out charged butterflies to people with strong emotions, give them powers, and make them prey to the manipulation of the wielder. The Miraculous doesn't have a known limit aside from sending out only one Akuma at a time. So my changes are simple. I'm taking away the ability to sense emotion. The user doesn't know who the Akuma goes to when sent, unless they're in close proximity. And the Akuma has its own radar, so it goes to the most ideal targets. Now when it comes to powers, I'd give the butterfly Miraculous the Rooster treatment, as in no giving powers that can come in form of a wish, and no copying powers of other Miraculouses. Now I know that means episodes like Copycat, Volpina, and Antibug won't exist, but I feel Antibug and Copycat weren't that great of episodes, especially for a villain like Chloe. You'd think she'd be her own unique villain, but she just ends up being an evil ladybug. And for Volpina, Lila should have stolen the actual Fox Miraculous, because it would have framed her as an actual threat much earlier.
Sentient monsters are living beings created from a person's feelings.
Solid power, but I have some ideas. The Peacock could grant the user pathokinesis, the ability to sense and control others' emotions. You'd think the concept being emotion will reflect in its powers, but nothing about the Peacock powers is strongly tied to emotions. If anything, the butterfly has more emotional symbolism than the Peacock. Alternatively, I think the Peacock Miraculous should be able to summon certain designated creatures with particular powers based on the emotion, like a bear for anger, a snake for envy, something like that. So you summon the creatures, not just creating and snapping them out of existence. This erases the guilt the user could potentially face and restricts the powers the wielder can access. Think of it like the tailed beast from Naruto. This was my original idea when I saw the sentient monsters in the grimoire. The tiger has by far the most basic power, a super punch. Don't get me wrong, the visuals go hard, but honestly the similarities to Cataclysm makes it seem really stale. I'd change the concept to domination, like how an apex predator, like a tiger, marks his territory. The power name would be Roar. Again, not very subtle. It would start with the wielder yelling out, then it will transit to an actual tiger roar, essentially giving them sonic scream. And the weapon would be a clawed gauntlet. Also, I can't be the only one who thought the weapon was a gauntlet at first. And finally, the Miraculous that is so unoriginal,
So repetitive.
so obviously a bootleg version of another. The goat. The goat embodies the concept of passion and as such has the power of genesis, the ability to create any object the user chooses, with the exception of living beings and magical objects. Now I get what they were trying to do, represent how artists are very passionate about their work, and I'm in full support of that, but it feels like this power was written to fit into Nathaniel's personality and not to exist on its own. First off, changing the concept of passion to ascension. By definition, ascension is action of rising to an important position. When I was searching facts about goats, I came across this interesting realization. Goats are really good climbers. Impressive, I know. And in the spirit of all the concepts ending with the suffix ION, I landed on the word ascension. As for the power, I'm going with the name Shear. Basically, the goat's miraculous wielder activates the power and touches a target. That object or living being loses its gravity and floats randomly. This is where the new weapon comes in. The miraculous holder can then jump in the air and come crashing down with a goat horned helmet. That's the weapon, by the way. The name of the power Shear is a nod to how when goat hairs become too thick, they are sheared off, like how the weight of the target is removed. So, do you agree with my fixes? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you're interested in seeing my ranking of the strongest miraculous heroes and villains, click the video on the screen.